African countries should consider having strong military, but again, there are other African countries that their military is very weak, in that they cannot wage war, or their forces are not equally equipped, trained, or supported to effectively defend the country or protect its power. This can stem from various factors, including insufficient funding. And today on High Five Media, we are going to list for you the 10 countries that are in Africa that have the weakest militaries 2025. But before we go into the details, or we dive into the details, we thank whoever subscribes. You do the best. And for those who haven't subscribed, please subscribe to High Five Media for latest information and all the data I would like to know about all our countries. Today we are going to list for you 10 African countries that have the weakest militaries 2025. And we start with the country of Senegal. The country of Senegal, its military is often considered to be among the weakest in Africa, despite having relatively well-trained and disciplined forces, having exercised professionalism and involvement in peacemaking missions. It's limited by a relatively small budget and lack of heavy equipment, including a limited number of armed fighting vehicles and no battle tanks, which means it can no longer fight or wage a war against any other country. And even if a country wages a war against it, it will be definitely defeated because of its army. Another weakest African country, we have the country of Gambia. The country of Gambia has the weakest due to its small size, its limited economic resources, and lack of significant external threats. The Gambia Armed Forces consists of the Gambia National Army, the Gambian Naval, and the Republican National Guard. The Gambia Armed Force has a relatively small number of personnel, estimated to be 3,500 armed personnel, and those are only active members, and they lack a strong military tradition due to its reliance on colonial forces. For its Gambia as a country, it measures or it relies so much on colonial forces, as it for a country of its own, it has no organized military, only 3,500 military men. They are the ones that they rely on in case of any war is waged against them. They only rely on those 305,000 men. Remember, we are ranking these countries, these African countries 2025, depending on the Global Firepower Index of 2025. Country number 8, we have the country of Mauritania. This country is number among the weakest African countries. Despite having a relatively large and active troop number, it faces several challenges, including outdated and poorly equipped forces. They rely very much on foreign support, and issues with governance and internal security, they don't matter so much. They have outdated equipment, they have limited naval assets, they lack modern capabilities, reliance on foreign support is what makes them to be very weak and can't fight on their own, internal security, and a weak governance as a country of Mauritania. All of these makes them to be ranked number 8 of the countries in Africa that have the weakest military 2025. We go to country number 7 in our list today. Number 7 is the country of Gabon. Country of Gabon is considered of the weakest, characterized by small size and limited combat. Readiness well stable, it primarily serves ceremonial. Internal security laws, with its naval air forces being particularly limited. It's very limited in size and it has no equipment. It focuses on internal securities. It has a weak naval and air forces dependent on its partnerships with other countries, which makes it to not overthink on its own as a country, thus failing to plan for its country. Number 6, we bring to you the African country of Madagascar. This one is considered weakest among the African countries globally. It's has a small size, limited equipment, underfunding, and the country prioritizes diplomacy and international operations over military strength. So for them, they don't consider military strength as any other biggest thing they would consider as a country or to plan for themselves. They are only there as Madagascar as a country. On our list, remember we are on the top weakest militaries in Africa 2025 according to the Global Fire Index. And we had number 10. Countdown is from number 10 up to number 1. We had number 10 as the country of Senegal. Number 9, the country of Gambia. Number 8, the country of Mauritania. Number 7, the country of Gabon. Number 6, we have the country of Madagascar. Then number 5, we have the Central African Republic. Central African Republic is one of the weakest due to the ongoing internal conflicts and history of its instability. Central African Republic military, called the Central African Armed Force, is heavily reliant on foreign support, particularly from Russia and the United Nations. It always relies on foreign countries for support, particularly from Russia. The forces to maintain even assemblies of security, they don't have it. So in case a war is waged against them and the foreign countries don't come to support them, it means they will be defeated there, and then cause they don't have any way of fighting for themselves or fighting to overcome any war waged against them. Number 4, we bring to the country of Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is among the rankings of the Global Fire Index of 145 countries. Sierra Leone was ranked among 140th country out of the 145 countries in the 2025 Global Fire Index, which means it has a very small size, limited resources, and depends on foreign support. It doesn't have any support of its own, it just relies on foreign support. Number 3, we have the country of Liberia. The country of Liberia is considered to be very weak also because it is small and not active. Its military is not active. They have limited equipment. They lack air and naval power. And following the conflicts, the civil conflicts, Liberia has focused on reconstruction and peacemaking rather than military expansion. The conflicts they faced, Liberia as a country, costed them a lot, and instead of building a strong military to keep what they have already, they are first reconstructing what they lost, first maintain peace, then they continue with a military expansion. That's what makes them to be number 3 in the ranking of order of the countries with weak military leaders in Africa. Number 2, we have the country of Benin. This country, being ranked number 2 among the countries with weak military, it means it is very limited in funding, it lacks modern equipment, it lacks training infrastructure, and its military primarily focuses on border security and internal stability rather than large-scale defense operations or defense operations for the whole country. It rather focuses on those internal stability and border security so that nothing can enter or leave their country. But as a military, in case of anything, they lack it. And number one African country to be with a weak military 2025 is the country of Somalia. This is considered the weakest globally, and according to the recent ranking of 2025, it's considered number 142 out of the 144 countries of the 2025 Global Power Index. Its low ranking reflects the impact of prolonged civil wars, weak governance, and reliance on international support. Somalia National Army faces significant challenges in terms of equipment, logistics, and discipline, with only a portion of its troops considered combat ready. Somalia has faced a lot of civil wars, and they are still prolonging. It has not come out to organize a good military. That's why other countries, other African countries, always come in to hope for them fight against the wars waged against them. But for them as a country, they lack that organization. Those have been the weakest African countries with their, in fact, those have been the countries in Africa with the weakest armies. 2025. Thank you for following up to the end. For those who haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, comment. More information is coming on High Five Media.